Hi everyone, Wasim Parkar over here. I'm trying something different. Wimbledon started last week. We are in middle Sunday now, ahead of the defining week at SW19. And of course, one of the most anticipated days for tennis fans is the second Monday of Wimbledon, known commonly as Manic Monday, when we see all the round of 16 matches, men's and women's, played on the same day. We don't have anything even close to that in any of the other Grand Slams, so that's why this is such a special day. And I thought uh, it's the right time for me to start my Wimbledon previews because this is where the tournament gets serious. Now, usually I do take my audio very seriously. I take my setup very seriously. I like to do things almost to studio quality when I do these videos. But as things have happened, I've had a bit of a house emergency. Noise is a really huge issue. So I'm doing something different and doing this from my car. That being said, I hope that doesn't result in any loss of quality when it comes to the analysis of these matches. So let's start with the women's round of 16, folks. First of all, I have to say that was probably one of the best first weeks in a Grand Slam I've seen of women's tennis in terms of sheer competitiveness and unpredictability. We saw lots of good three-set matches, even a lot of the straight-set wins for the likes of Angelique Kerber and Venus Williams were actually very tight matches. So we've had a lot of entertainment. It's very unpredictable. Without Serena Williams, of course, anyone can win. It's really hard to call. And I would say of the remaining 16 players, any 10 of them could really end up winning Wimbledon this year. So let's take a look at the draw and let's get right into it. First up is a match between the number one seed, number one ranked player Angelique Kerber and Garbine Muguruza. It's quite surreal to see this encounter in the round of 16. After all, together, the two of these ladies won three of the four Grand Slams last year. So the fact that they're playing each other so early in the tournament probably speaks to the fact that they haven't been able to follow up the achievements of 2016 in 2017, especially Garbine Muguruza, who had lots of points to defend in the clay court season but suffered exits left, right, and center. Remarkably, it's also a match between the last two finalists who lost to Serena Williams at the Wimbledon finals in 2015. Muguruza lost to Serena 6-4, 6-4. 2016, last year, Kerber lost to Serena 7-5, 6-3. Two very hard fought matches, probably Serena's toughest finals in a long time. So it'll be interesting to see. Both players have that grass court pedigree. Kerber is a number one ranked player. To be honest, I'm surprised she made it this far because she came in with such a loss of form. She didn't have the confidence, and I really didn't expect her. But sometimes winning a Grand Slam is more about grit, more about determination, and the fact that she's somehow seen through some very tricky and tough opponents. Even in the last round against Shelby Rogers, she was on the brink of defeat, but she came back and won through in three sets. Maybe that's what she needs to get back that confidence, because Kerber's best qualities, and it's probably symptomatic of her game. She is a counter puncher. She loves chasing balls. So everything's based on grit, and the fact that she's able to grind out these wins probably puts her in a good headspace. Now, Garbine Muguruza, not many people would have talked to her. She's now plummeted to number 14. She was a 14th seed reaching this Wimbledon. But I think one of the best things that happened to her was her exit at the French Open round of 16, because she looked to me like a player who certainly struggled to cope with the tag of being a Grand Slam champion. I don't think it sat well with her. She played very inhibited tennis. Now, Garbine, unlike Angelique, is actually a hard hitter, an aggressive player, and I thought ever since she won at Roland Garros last year, that title certainly was a big weight on her shoulders, and she wasn't playing the same aggressive attacking tennis that made her so successful. So now that she's lost French Open, we remember that press conference where she was in tears. She left the press conference in between, but to her credit, came back and then said, "You know what, guys? You know what? I'm happy. I'm finally not the French Open champion anymore." And seeing her play tennis at Wimbledon so far in the first week, I got the sense that she's finally liberated again. And if she's liberated and going for shots and hitting hard, she's as dangerous as any opponent on grass. This match is really quite tricky to call. Garbine has the 4-3 advantage in the head-to-head, and I think she is the better grass court player. But in the decisive moments, will Kerber's mental strength prevail? I'm going for Garbinier to win this match by a very small margin. They actually played a classic at Wimbledon in 2015 as well, which Garbinier won in 3 sets. The first set was a monumental tiebreak that she won 14-12. The third set she won 6-2. So based on her grass court pedigree, I'm going to go for Garbinian to cause the upset over Kerber, but it shouldn't come as to any surprise if somehow Kerber finds a way to prevail. We'll see how that goes. Now, the winner of that match plays the winner of Svetlana Kuznetsova against Agi Radwanska. Now, both these ladies in their own rights are now veterans of the tennis game. Remarkably, they've played 17 times. Kuznetsova has the edge in the head-to-head 13-4. The first ever meeting that they both had was remarkably 10 years ago at Wimbledon in 2007 when Agi Radwanska was just a young beginner and Kuznetsova won easily. But the next time they played at Wimbledon in 2008, Radwanska won in 3 sets. Now, matches between these both have always been close. Yes, Kuznetsova has the overall edge, but it's still too close to call. And I think, again, it comes down to grass court pedigree. Radwanska, of course, reached the finals at Wimbledon in 2012. Another player who lost to Serena in the finals. And she probably thinks that without Serena, now is her chance to finally get that maiden Wimbledon title. So just because she's a better grass court player, I'm going to give Radwanska. But again, like most of the women's draw, folks, this is a really unpredictable match. Staying in this half of the draw, Magdalena Rybarikova versus Petra Martic. Now, when it comes to the round of 16, I don't think many of us think of a match between the world number 87 and the world number 121. But that's what this match is. So I won't even fake it over here. I can't say I can analyze these players' games so much. I haven't seen much of them. I did enjoy Rybarika's upset win over Karolina Pliskova, and she looked to me like a player who's extremely comfortable on grass. Petra Martic, great effort in making the round of 16, but she hasn't played any tough opponents really who have that Wimbledon pedigree. So I'm going to go with Rybarikova purely on the basis that if she was good enough to beat Pliskova, she should have enough to get through and beat Martic. Now, the fact that such an opponent will reach the quarterfinals means the pressure is on Coco Vandeweghe and Caroline Wozniacki, who complete that half of the draw. This is a very, very interesting match. The 24th seed, Coco Vandeweghe, she's improved a lot this year, made the Australian Open semifinals. Caroline Wozniacki, after hitting a bit of a bump, the last 2 years, she's picked up her game as well. She's seeded fifth. Another player who I thought was vulnerable and ripe for an upset in the first week, considering her opponents. She played Timea Babos, who was a Wimbledon doubles finalist, Svetlana Pironkova, Wimbledon semi-finalist, and then Anett Kontaveit, who was 7-0 on grass heading into their third round encounter. Now, Anett Kontaveit actually served for the match twice. Caroline Wozniacki was broken 4 times in the second set, but in a very similar manner to Angelique Kerber, Caroline Wozniacki has shown that diligence, that ability to graft out wins, a bit of veteran experience, playing well in the big moments. I think, again, on grass, I would say Coco's got the more natural weapon. She's got a great first serve, superb forehand, and she probably won't be so ruffled as to throw away an advantage the way the young Estonian did in the last round. So I'm going to go with Coco to beat Caroline. Yeah, you can never rule out Caroline Wozniacki, but I think Coco's natural game is going to get her through. So that's the top half of the draw. The bottom half of the draw is also filled with interesting matches. The first one, Venus Williams versus Anna Konjuh. Now, despite being almost 37 and despite all the off-court drama of the fatal accident that she was involved in Florida, I think Venus has shown immense mental fortitude and immense concentration. That being said, not one of her matches was easy in this tournament so far. She's come through, but all 3 matches have been pretty tough, and I expect no different when she plays the youngest player remaining in the draw, the 19-year-old Croatian, who was a quarterfinalist at the US Open last year. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if this match went 3 sets because Anna Konjuh is one of those players who hits fearlessly. She can really go for the lines, go for big shots, and I'm expecting her to pose quite a big challenge to Venus. However, come the pressure points, will she be able to bring in that bit of variety? Will she be able to slow down the game? I think Venus has been through these experiences many times, so I expect Venus to prevail in 3 sets in what should be a really high quality match. Next up in this draw is Yelena Ostapenko, the surprise French Open champion. Folks, I'm just surprised at this lady's ability to just continuously go for it. Nothing seems to affect her. It to me on the surface it seems like it's a strategy that's not sustainable. But she won the French Open playing this way, and now she's made it into the fourth round at Wimbledon, despite having some pretty sticky situations in the first three rounds. And one thing that also surprises me about this Latvian sensation is that for a 20-year-old, she's very comfortable playing three sets. It doesn't seem to phase her. So for that reason, I'll give Yelena Ostapenko the edge over Elina Svitolina, who of course had the mother of all meltdowns at Roland Garros when she contrived to lose to Simona Halep when she was 5-1 up in the second set after winning the first. She was of course the form player going into Roland Garros, but I thought she'd have a huge mental hangover after that crushing collapse against Simona Halep. But to her credit, she's played some excellent tennis and made it through to the fourth round at Wimbledon. The last two matches in the women's round of 16 are also going to be real crackers. Johanna Konta, the home favorite, the British lady who's improved so much, she's finally into the second week at Wimbledon for the first time in her career after lots of anticipation and expectation. And she's playing some cracking tennis. I think in the second round, when she came through in that marathon match against Donna Vekic, I think she cleared a big mental hurdle. So let's see how she takes on the very talented and young Frenchwoman, Caroline Garcia, who made her first Grand Slam quarterfinal at the French Open earlier this month. She's got a good grass court game. She's nifty with the net, and she actually leads the head-to-head 2-1. So this has the potential of an upset. I think Konta is the more solid player, but sometimes, a bit of eccentricity, a bit of French flair just might see Garcia go through. And then the final match, really, this match is befitting of a semi-final or final. Simona Halep and Victoria Azarenka, both legitimate claims to probably being the second best player on tour after Serena Williams. But it's really tough to call. Azarenka's story is remarkable. This is her first Grand Slam since she returned from delivering a child. She's ranked 683 because she missed so much tennis, but she's made it to the second round. Another player, again, who maybe doesn't look like she's playing her best tennis, but because of her mentality, is staying strong. So kudos to her for making it. And Simona Halep, after that heartbreaking loss in the French Open final, I wasn't sure she'd be in the right frame of mind for Wimbledon. But she's played some exceptional tennis, and I think with Darren Cahill as a coach, she's also starting to play more aggressively. She's going for her forehands, which is suiting her at Wimbledon. This game is too close to call. Azarenka leads the head-to-head. Halep leads the head-to-head 2-1, but Azarenka did win their one and only Grand Slam meeting. This match is extremely close to call. Whoever's going to lose probably feel unfortunate that they had such an opponent in the round of 16. But on the basis of match fitness, I'm going to go for Simona Halep to prevail in a close match. So all being said and done, I'm expecting a cracking round of 16 for the women's draw, and I'll be back soon with my men's preview as well.